This is him?
He's nothing like I thought he'd be.
I'm Yagami of the NPA.
Matsuda.
I'm Aizawa. Mogi. Yukita.
I'm very sorry we're late. Currently, the 5 of us are...
Bang!
Huh?
What the hell was that? If I were Kira, you'd be dead, Mr. Soichiru Yagami, chief of the NPA.
What?
Kira needs a face and a name in order to commit murder. But I'm sure you've already figured that much out, haven't you? Please do not give out your name so carelessly. Instead, let's value our lives.
I knew that he needed a face to kill someone, but I don't remember any evidence that showed he needed a name, too.
There's no way to verify if this was related, but criminals whose names were never released publicly or whose names were spelled incorrectly in the media have not been targeted. We briefly went over it at one of our meetings.
That's enough small talk for now. Come this way.
Oh, right.
Please turn off all your cell phones, handhelds, and any other communication devices and place them on the table right there. What, do you think we're going to be using our cell phones during this meeting to leak information?
It's alright, just do as he says.
I realize he's been cautious from the very beginning, but I still can't tell if he trusts us or not.
No, I just find them distracting. I can't stand it when people's cell phones are ringing while I'm trying to talk. Let me start by saying that nobody takes notes on anything that is said in these meetings. That means when we leave headquarters, any information that we need is committed to memory. Please, make yourselves comfortable.
Right.
Excuse me, L?
From now on, I'll have to ask that you stop calling me L. It's Ryuzaki now, just to be safe.
Okay, Ryuzaki. If we know that he needs a name and a face to kill, couldn't we cut down on the number of victims by keeping the criminals' names from the news?
If we do that, we'd only be putting the general public at risk. The general public? Why? Kira is childish and he hates losing.
But how do you...
Just what do you mean?
Well, I'm also childish and I hate to lose. That's how I know.
Ryuzaki, would you mind being a little bit more specific for us?
Early on in the investigation, I tried to provoke Kira with that broadcast. Up until then, we thought that Kira would only go after criminals. But as we all witnessed, he didn't hesitate to kill my stand-in. Also, as soon as I said we knew he was in the Kanto region, in defiance he made sure his next victims came from within Japan, as if to say, what are you gonna do about it? He's met each of my challenges head-on, and he's never missed an opportunity to return the favor. Now, what do you think would happen if we tried to use media restrictions to hide criminals from someone like that?
I guess...
If you choose to withhold the names of your worst criminals, I'll kill petty criminals or the innocent. I'm holding the whole world hostage, so who's it gonna be? I'm not the evil one here, but all those who oppose me by hiding criminals, you are truly evil. That's exactly how Kira thinks. In any case, let's look at another way we can use the media to draw him out. But how? How about something like this? Death of FBI agents infuriates the US. Latest killings anger the international policing community. Nations agree to send 1,500 investigators to Japan. For Kira, this will be way beyond anything what he faced with the FBI. He'll see everyone as a potential threat. Psychologically, he'll start to feel cornered, and that will cause him to take some kind of drastic action. That's interesting. So he'll think there are 1,500 of us when there are really only 7 of us. And since none of these investigators exist, he won't be able to kill them. It just might work. Well, before we celebrate, I'll tell you the rest of my thoughts on the Kira case. Kira works alone. He had access to all of our classified information. What evidence do you have that he's working alone?
Hold on, Aizawa. Let's listen to his entire theory before asking questions.
We know he needs a name and a face to kill. And to some extent, he can control a victim's time of death and their actions before dying. We already know that much. Please keep that in mind. and listen carefully to what I have to say next. On December 14th, 12 FBI investigators entered Japan. Here we are on December 19th. Using prison inmates, Kida conducts experiments to manipulate a victim's actions before they die. In other words, during this window of only 5 days, Kida became aware of the FBI's presence and obviously felt threatened. Because he didn't know any of their names and faces, he was at a disadvantage. He needed to know how much control he had over his victims before he could use it on the 12 agents. And as we all know, on December 27th,
I got a hold of a file which contained all of the names and faces of the FBI investigators in Japan, and I succeeded in killing each one of them. It's practically impossible to guess which agent gave the file to Kira, but I have to make sure that no one ever finds out that I came into contact with Ray Penber. Huh? How come you're not using the Death Note today? You studying for those entrance exams? Those are the least of my worries. Plus, it's a little late to start now. Huh? What you doing? December 19th to December 27th. I've been most active during this period.
During this period, to the best of our knowledge, at least 23 individuals died of heart attacks. But these victims were different than Kida's previous targets. They were all alleged criminals, ex-convicts, or suspects in ongoing investigations, so legally speaking, they were innocent.
That's true.
What this indicates is that Kida had to manipulate these lesser criminals in order to kill those FBI agents. He killed that many people so he'd be unable to tell the decoys from those who were actually used. In truth, he probably only needed a few. He waited 8 days so the FBI could investigate other suspects, which meant there'd be no timeline linking him with their deaths. I suspect Kida had to be one of the people being investigated by the FBI between the 14th and the 19th of December. In fact, I have no doubt. These are files provided by the FBI. They contain additional information you might find useful. For obvious reasons, you're not permitted to take these outside of this room, but...
Amazing! There might only be 5 of us, but with this much information, we'll be able to cover a lot of ground.
We'll split into 2 teams. One team traces the FBI agents, the other looks at the heart attack victims.
There weren't that many people who had access to the information from headquarters, and of those, the FBI only investigated a small group in the first 5 days.
Yeah. So, does anyone have any questions?
Huh?
Actually, Ryuzaki, I do have one question for you. And it pertains to what you said to us earlier about how you hate to lose. Does the fact that you've shown us your face mean that you've lost? By just being here, are you admitting defeat to Kira?
That's right. By showing my face to you now, and by sacrificing the lives of 12 FBI agents, I have lost the battle. But I'm not going to lose the war. This is the first time I've ever put my life on the line. I want to show Kira that we're all willing to risk our lives if that's what it takes. And that justice will prevail no matter what.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
I like the sound of that. We can do this! Alright then, let's do this, Ryuzaki.
Well, I had my doubts about whether it was really him at first, but there's no mistaking it. This man is L.
Before we go any further, I have to be absolutely sure that none of you are Kira, so I'll need to speak with each of you individually before you leave today. Huh. What's the deal? He still doesn't trust us?
No, I think it's a fair request. Try to see it from his perspective. Kira's been getting information from our headquarters from the very beginning, so there's a good chance that he's one of us.
Chief's right. Working this case has given us the chance to see him in person.
He's risking his life to be here. Things are going well. Just one clue, a single decisive factor is all I need.
Just one oversight. A single piece of evidence is all it would take. It could cost me my life.
Just one thing.